Part 31. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 301. When Lu Xiaoming was just locked up in the demon locking tower, he didn't have any worries or concerns. The time to worry has actually passed. No matter who attacked, he knocked out himself, Xiaohong, and Xiaolu. The opponent was too strong. If he wanted to kill himself and others, it would be like stepping on an ant. Being killed directly by others is what we should worry about. Since he didn't die, everything is fine. Looking back at that time, the Insect King was not careless at all, and the circle was still released from a distance. The biggest feature of Xiaoming's circle is that it has a very low sense of existence, and ordinary strong people can't detect it. But those who can detect it are almost all super strong people. So Xiaoming never expected that the circle he released to protect himself would become the culprit that hurt him. Because it attracted the peak, one of, this world Shushan Sword Saint. In fact, the Sword Saint was very far away from Xiaoming, and he couldn't even pass by. But he noticed Xiaoming's circle and was a little interested in this thing he had never seen before. He took a closer look. Okay. There are actually 3 demons and monsters, pretending to be Taoist nuns, harming humans. This is intolerable. Uncle can tolerate it, but Aunt can't tolerate it. Xiaoming and his friends suffered 2 reasons. First, they are punishing evil people, but after all, it is demons that are harming humans. If they were fighting demons, the Sword Saint would probably observe carefully. If they were fighting humans, the Sword Saint would not think much. Second, their appearance is not good. Xiaohong and Xiaolu look okay, but they are very sinful. And the appearance of the Insect King is really a bit fierce. Think about the appearance of the alien, the Chimera ant, and the insect race, which are more terrifying than ordinary demons. The aura is also terrifying. So the Sword Saint took action directly. And when he took action, the Sword Saint himself was actually still outside the range of Xiaoming. Such a long-range attack can also accurately stun the Insect King and other 3 monsters. Not only did it not hurt Green Xiaoming and his friends, it did not even hurt the surrounding environment. It can be seen that the Sword Saint has reached an extremely high level of control over power. After the Sword Saint knocked them out, he took them to Shushan and locked them in the demon locking tower. This was thanks to the Sword Saint's strong enough strength. If it was a monk with lower combat power, the 3 Insect Kings would probably be seriously injured or even killed. It didn't matter if Green Xiaoming died, he could use the self-resurrection stone to revive. What if Xiaohong and Xiaolu died? Would the self-resurrection stone still work on them? Xiaoming didn't know. Moreover, the Sword Saint was kind-hearted and gave them a break. He just locked Xiaoming and others in the demon locking tower. If it was the old perverted Lord of the Moon worship, the Insect King would probably be sliced and studied. Although the Lord of the Moon worship didn't have a magical object like the demon locking tower to block space, he should still have the ability to lock a monster. If he fell into his hands, it would be really a life or death situation. What a close call. After waking up, Green Xiaoming woke up 2 followers. Not long after the 3 of them left the starting place, they ran into 5 level 2 monsters. They rushed up to eat them. This kind of brainless behavior cannot be tolerated. After knocking them all down with a wave of his hand, Xiaoming stepped on them and interrogated them. Only then did he know that this was actually the Shushan locking demon tower. Shushan is famous in various immortal novels and movies. This place is actually called Shushan, which is definitely not ordinary. According to these little monsters, there are countless monsters locked in the tower, and they are allowed to enter but not leave. Monsters must eat 99 humans, or 999 monsters, before they can leave the locking demon tower. Hearing this, Xiaoming frowned deeply. How could this sound so unreliable? It seems like a conspiracy of the Shushan sect to make the monsters kill each other. However, Considering how he got in, Xiaoming didn't believe it. If they really wanted to kill the monsters, why did they lock them in? Wouldn't it be better to kill them directly? But it is obvious that this rumor has been circulating for a long time. Xiaoming later encountered several groups of little monsters, all of whom rushed up without saying a word and wanted to eat them. The insect king was not polite and ate them all in return. During this period, Xiaoming also began to panic. Because he found that in the locking demon tower, the bright summit could not be opened. There was no problem with silver Xiaoming outside the tower, but green Xiaoming inside the tower really could not open it. The reason why Xiaoming had never worried before was because he always felt that he had a way out. The first way out was Bright Summit. Xiaoming thought that as long as green Xiaoming opened a door in the locking demon tower, silver Xiaoming would also open a door outside the tower. Using Bright Summit as a passage, he could easily leave. Maybe he could even make some money by selling tickets. Take advantage of the monsters in the tower. It's too naive. If you can leave the locking demon tower with just a little space ability, then you are too disrespectful of the reputation of Shushan sect. From the outside, this tower is just an ordinary tower. It would be very crowded if a few hundred people could be stuffed in. But this tower actually imprisoned tens of thousands of monsters, and the density is still very low. This means that there is something else in the tower, and the ability of space has been applied to perfection. How can Xiaoming's Bright Summit work in the face of such an existence? Isn't this too naive? The first way out is hopeless. The second way out is the reincarnation space. Xiaoming's stay in this world is 30 days. By then, even if he doesn't want to leave, he should be taken away by space, right? You can wait and see. The third way out is also related to space. If you are in a hurry, Xiaoming can die out. If a reincarnator dies in the mission world, he will face two choices: give up the mission and leave, or use the resurrection stone to revive. In principle, if you use the resurrection stone to revive, you will not revive in the same place, but will randomly appear somewhere nearby. However, based on the experience in the world of A Chinese Ghost Story 1, it is difficult to randomly go outside the locking demon tower. Only by giving up can you leave here. After thinking about this, Xiaoming felt relieved. Unexpectedly, within just a few days, these two retreats were all cut off. At the end of the 30-day mission time. Space prompt: VIP No 007 is in a special plot state and cannot leave the world of Chinese Paladin 1. You can't leave even when the time is up? This shocks Xiaoming. I have a clearer understanding of the attitude of the space towards VIPs. VIPs and space are equal. The space will not issue tasks to VIPs, will not restrict any actions of VIPs, and will not provide too much protection for VIPs. All the actions of VIPs and the consequences thereof must be borne by the VIPs themselves. The space will only provide some necessary and limited protection. In this case, the only option left is to die. For this reason, Xiaoming deliberately tried to commit suicide and entered a forbidden area mentioned by the monsters. He was directly chopped into pieces by several sword energies. However, it was useless. The system just randomly resurrected green Xiaoming nearby and did not provide the option of leaving this world. What should I do? Will I be locked up in this world forever? What if the resurrection stones are used up? Will I return to the reincarnation space? Or will I die in this world? Oh collapse! For a moment, Xiaoming was in a state of confusion. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 302. How can Xiaoming not be anxious? Although he can live the same life in the world of reincarnation. People live from birth to death wherever they are. But he can't go back to his home on Pangu Star. He can't see his sister anymore, and he can't see his friends like Brother Wen anymore. Because of the rules of the reincarnation space, he is trapped in the world of Legend of Sword and Fairy. Is this considered a passive crossing? On June 6, playing the Magic Planet game, Xiaoming connected to outer space for the first time. At that time, he almost thought he had traveled through time. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. But this time, it is definitely not a misunderstanding. It is as difficult as ascending to heaven to return to Pangustar. And the most troublesome thing is that the time in the world of Pangustar is static relative to the world of reincarnation. Even if Xiaoming lives until the end of his life in this world, the time on Pangustar will not move at all. In other words, it is impossible to even hope that Xiao Jing'er and Zhang Wen will come to visit in future missions. Not to mention saving Xiaoming. At this time, Xiaoming hoped that the reincarnation space would directly destroy this world after the reincarnation mission was completed. In that case, Xiaoming, the VIP, would probably have a chance to get out. They can't kill the VIP. But it is more likely that the space will keep this world to take care of the VIP. Besides, what is the name of this world? The Legend of Sword and Fairy 1. If there is one, there will be two, and there may be 3 and 4, it seems a bit scary to want to live to the end of this world. I may not live that long. It seems that I really have to live in this world until I die. It's so sad. This anxious mood troubled Zhang Xiaoming for many days. It took Xiaohong and Xiaolu a long time to wait for Xiaoming to cheer up again. If Xiaoming continues to be depressed, they will consider using their bodies to stimulate Xiaoming. Haha, if Xiaoming knew that these two girls were ready to commit themselves to him, would he regret that he cheered up too early? After racking their brains, Xiaohong and Xiaolu couldn't find a suitable reason to comfort Xiaoming. Their first suggestion was to let Xiaoming establish his own insect-human civilization in the Demon Locking Tower and unify the Demon Locking Tower. Then, with this strength, he would fight his way out. In the Demon Locking Tower, all the monsters were captured by the Shushan section. There are many monsters stronger than Xiaoming. They can't fight them out, so how can Xiaoming do it? This suggestion is passed. The second suggestion is to let Yin Xiaoming outside the Demon Locking Tower find a way. If he can find another way, he can break the Demon Locking Tower by cooperating inside and outside, and it seems that he can get out of trouble. But thinking about the strength of the Shushan Sword Saint, Xiaoming immediately became timid. To what extent do you have to practice to deal with Shushan? Golden Pill? Yuanying? Or Mahayana? Crossing the tribulation? It is not impossible to practice to this level, but it is very time-consuming. It can be as short as a few hundred years or thousands of years, or as long as tens of thousands of years. At that time, the yearning for Pangustar was probably buried deep in my heart, and it has been sealed for a long time. I am afraid that I have long lost this thought. Xiaoming never thought that he was the kind of person who would never change until death. Time can smooth everything out. 3. Psi, being assimilated into this world and becoming a part of it may be the only possible ending. In the end, it was Maomoer, the inhabitant of hot-blooded Neza, who was the most rational. He proposed a solution with the shortest time, source energy. Specifically, Xiaoming's bright summit is still activated by telekinesis for the time being. The space blockade of the locking demon tower is a Taoist technique, or a fairy technique. When facing fairy techniques, telekinesis is subjected to an effect similar to level suppression. It requires a huge amount to counter it. The locking demon tower can suppress millions of monsters. If you want to win by quantity, I'm afraid there is no chance. In this way, you can only win by quality. If the space of Bright Summit can be transformed into a source energy technique, the source energy will suppress the fairy techniques, so there will be a great chance of escaping. This method should not take hundreds of years. In fact, the best way is to ask Zhao Zhuzhu and Kraken for help. The forces behind them may have a way. But when Lu Xiaoming was trapped, the other members of the team had completed the task and left the world of Xianjian. There was no chance to seek help. Why didn't they use the task card to renew? Why didn't they stay for a while in a place with such rich spiritual energy? Xiaoming had to wait until he could leave this world before he could ask them about the reason. Yin Xiaoming tried hard to turn the Guangmingding space into a skill that could be activated with source energy. Lu Xiaoming had to fight for his own safety. During the time when Xiaoming was depressed, it was Xiaohong and Xiaolu who protected Xiaoming from harm. But the monsters that attacked were getting more and stronger and stronger. If they continued like this, they might be exhausted to death. The main reason was that Xiaohong's 100 Ghost Box and Xiaolu's purple vine armor were not brought into the locking demon tower. Of course, the Sword Saint couldn't let them bring such magic weapons into the locking demon tower. These two things can be left to the low-level disciples of Shushan. He cut off the connection between the two magic weapons and Xiaohong and Xiaolu. This is a piece of cake for a character like the Sword Saint. Now is not the time to feel sorry for these two treasures. After Xiaoming cheered up, the first thing he did was to lay eggs. Guangmingding cannot be opened, and the skeletons, mechas, energy weapons, inside cannot be used in the demon locking tower. Besides, with the combat power of the undead army, it is completely unsuitable for fighting in the demon locking tower. The little monsters here are all level 2 and above. If you want to accumulate troops, you can only rely on insect humans. Number 1 is just a fusion of vampires and werewolves, and he is already a 3rd level advanced. Unfortunately, he is still in Guangmingding and cannot enter the demon locking tower. So Xiaoming has to cultivate new insect humans by himself. This wave can't take advantage of the Zerg spiritual sea. Fortunately, the king of the insects has stored all the genetic information in his body. It is enough to lay a lot of insect eggs. Newly born insect humans also need to eat flesh and blood to grow. So hunting monsters is a must. Building a nest is also a must. Before entering this world, Xiaoming learned alchemy, a skill that can change the terrain. It is most suitable for building a nest. Otherwise, you have to use the nesting methods of aliens, chimera ants, or Zerg. Use excrement and secretions to build a nest. Alchemy is better. The floor, stone pillars, walls, etc. of the demon locking tower are all protected by fairy spells. It's nonsense to want to use alchemy on them. Therefore, the objects that Lu Xiaoming used alchemy on were still the corpses of the monsters they killed and the excrement of the insect humans. Only these things could be used by the insect king. At this time, it was not Xiaoming's turn to be picky. He could only be thankful that alchemy could change the composition of objects. Otherwise, he would have to hold his nose and live in the nest of the insects. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 303. Xiaoming uses alchemy. First, turn those messy things into white stones, then change their shape into the shape of the wall of the demon locking tower. Finally, by arranging these walls, Xiaoming separated out a small space for himself that other monsters could not enter. In the demon locking tower, the space on each floor is actually very vast, no less than a small town. And each level is built like a maze. It is purely used to play with monsters when you are full. Xiaoming deeply admires the bad taste of the predecessors who built the demon locking tower. Although Xiaoming only separated a small space, it was actually several hundred square meters in size. You can now lay and hatch eggs with peace of mind. How much genetic information has been accumulated in the Insect King's gene pool? Let's count them. There are a large number of werewolves and vampires, there are monsters absorbed in the fairy sword world for more than half a month, there are also a small number of monster genes absorbed in the monster lock tower. as well as the few remaining orcs who were originally imprisoned in Guangmingding. After coming to the fairy sword world, Xiaoming absorbed them by the way. With this genetic information, Lu Xiaoming can probably breed many powerful insect humans. In addition to genetic information, the insect king also needs energy to lay eggs. And energy happens to be what Xiaoming lacks the most. Not to mention how much energy the insect king absorbed and stored along the way. The source energy alone can always provide Xiaoming with the energy he needs. Some people may wonder, why doesn't Xiaoming cultivate Zerg troops? Those are all units that have been refined by the Zerg tribe. The overall combat effectiveness should be higher than that of Xiaoming's insect humans. The answer is, it's not that I don't want to, but I really can't. Although Lu Xiaoming is the master of the Zerg race, he is still a bear commander for the time being. He hasn't even subdued a female insect of his own yet. So he couldn't cultivate Zerg troops. Only insect humans can be cultivated. The combination of Zerg troops is a pyramid structure, with a perfect combination from low level to high level. It is very suitable for large army battles and even wars in the universe. Xiaoming has never really experienced this, but the Zerg's spiritual power ocean thinks so. The characteristics of insect humans are, the strength of individual soldiers is generally not weak, and they can generally obtain level 3 physical fitness, and defective products can also reach level 2. The combat intelligence is at least as good as that of humans. And Xiaoming will teach them to use various supernatural powers such as telekinesis. In terms of combat power, it can be improved to another level. Relatively speaking, the Zerg are an army, and the Zerg humans are more like a group of agents. Better at small-scale battles. In a maze-like environment like the Demon Locking Tower, the advantages of insect humans are actually greater. In order to get enough flesh and blood to build nests and feed their offspring. At the same time, they are also looking for better nesting sites. Xiaoming, Xiaohong, and Xiaogreen, plus 3 chimeric alien beasts, had to hunt. I am exhausted every day. After fighting like this for several days, Yin Xiaoming accidentally noticed the energy weapons in Guangmingding. Only then did Xiaoming realize his omission. Xiaoming, who had just cheered up from his depression, was still a little confused. It wasn't very smart to say it. It's normal to forget things. The attack power of energy weapons is super strong, and it does not consume much on Xiaoming and others. It would be foolish to fight without energy weapons. With alchemy at your side, making energy weapons is a piece of cake. First convert the hacker ore, and then convert various materials to make an energy conversion machine. In this way, energy blocks can be produced continuously. The first batch of weapons produced include hacker energy pistols, submachine guns, sniper rifles, and newly developed energy shields. Xiaoming originally wanted to develop an exoskeleton mecha. However, that technical difficulty is a bit high. The mechanical manufacturing technology that Xiaoming downloaded into his mind has not yet reached the level of mecha. Even if you plan to copy the Rebel 1.0 test mecha like a cat or a tiger, the difficulty is not small. Xiaoming definitely doesn't have that much time for now. So in terms of defense, Xiaoming referred to the imagination of energy weapons obtained from the Matrix world. Creates an energy shield. The defensive power of this energy shield is quite good. Anyway, which of Xiaoming's own energy guns cannot be broken and can only consume their energy? Xiaoming has only 2 things on hand that can break through this energy shield defense head-on. One is the Rebel mecha. The weapons installed on it are equivalent to energy cannons. A few shots can consume all the energy of the shield. The other is a laser sword given by Kraken. It's probably a matter of principle. With a little effort, the laser sword can pierce the energy shield. It's a pity that Lu Xiaoming, who really needs powerful weapons like laser swords and mechas, can't get them. Only Yin Xiaoming can open the bright summit. Alas, life is unsatisfactory 9 times out of 10. However, With the energy gun and energy shield, Lu Xiaoming's speed in defeating monsters has been significantly improved. And it also has the ability to divide troops. Xiaoming and Xiaolu stayed at home, and Xiaoming was responsible for building the nest. We also specially prepared soil for Xiaolu to grow. The small green roots and branches are spread throughout the insect-human nest. With this ability, she was promoted to the chief housekeeper of the insect humans. It only takes a few hours for a human insect egg to grow from birth to hatching. What limits the development of human beings is whether they have enough flesh and blood. Therefore, Xiaoming has been controlling the number of insect people in order to develop the population healthily. The insect king himself actually doesn't need to eat at all. The green energy source is enough to meet his consumption and can feed a lot of insects. But other insects need to eat, and Xiaoming doesn't plan to use his energy source to feed them all the time. So family planning is absolutely necessary. And it's best to make insects self-sufficient. So Xiaoming and Xiaolu also researched and developed agriculture and animal husbandry together. Energy is limited, time is limited. Xiaoming didn't deliberately match the genetic information of insects. He chose to randomly draw from the gene pool. So the cultivated insects are all kinds of strange and varied. The strength is also uneven. Some are well matched, so the initial combat effectiveness can reach the advanced level 3 or even level 4. Of course, there are also those who are not well matched, with a combat effectiveness of only level 2, and there is even one level 1. For these weak ones, Xiaoming did not choose to retrain them. After all, they are all his children. Besides, it's not their fault that the combat effectiveness is low, it's the result of their random matching. How can they be blamed? These insect people stayed inside the insect nest, responsible for daily guarding, cleaning, farming, raising livestock, little monsters, cooking, making and maintaining weapons, etc. It was quite an idyllic and prosperous scene. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 304. Human communication is mainly based on language and supplemented by body movements. Zerg basically communicates with each other through spirits. Xiaoming's Zerg humans have two ways of communication. They can communicate with each other through language and through spirit. Language communication is limited by distance, and sound cannot be transmitted too far. Unless Zerg humans call each other. The distance of spiritual communication is quite far. It is mainly through the spiritual power strong among them, that is, Green Xiaoming, as the base station of the signal. The temporary situation is that Xiaoming can issue orders to any Zerg and receive reports from any Zerg. But if Zerg humans want to contact each other, either the distance between the two parties is very close, close enough to talk. Or they can open a group chat with spirit through Green Xiaoming. This is also the result of not receiving the nourishment of the Zerg spirit sea. The spiritual communication between Zerg humans is very unique. This is inherited from the Zerg. Zerg humans with low spiritual power cannot refuse the spiritual communication of high-level Zerg humans. And low-level Zerg humans are also unable to deceive high-level Zerg humans in spiritual communication. High-level Zergs cannot tell the whole truth to low-level Zergs in mental communication, but they cannot lie. And low-level Zergs can also feel this. In the Zerg, lying through mental communication is an absolute taboo. Ordinary Zerg individuals cannot do it. Because this skill needs to be developed by the Zerg itself. But in this process, it is difficult to keep it secret. The mental communication between Zergs will expose his intention to learn to lie. Then the life of this Zerg will be in danger immediately. Only Zergs with high mental power can independently develop the skill of lying before other Zergs find out. He may succeed once or twice. But the problem is that there is a whole Zerg spiritual sea watching, once this high-level Zerg is found to be lying. These human skills of flattery and perfunctory are useless in front of the Zerg spiritual sea. He will also become the collective enemy of the Zerg. This has resulted in a result that among the Zerg, except for the highest level Zerg above the Overlord, other Zerg have no concept and ability to lie. This is also one of the main reasons why the Zerg can be powerful. There is no need to pay a huge communication cost. There is no need to invent various things to prevent lying, keep secrets and prove. From early currency, contracts, and documents, to various bills, certification materials, identity certificates in the commercial period, and various encryption methods and algorithms, etc. Without these, the Zerg saves a lot of resources that can be used for development, and reduces a lot of conflicts and disputes. Humans need laws to restrict people's behavior. They need to sue, find evidence, find lawyers, defend, etc. There are also ubiquitous surveillance cameras. Even so, there is no guarantee that the truth can be obtained and fairness can be achieved. Hypocrisy, fraud, deception, arguing, and double talk are still the mainstream of human society. But the Zerg does not need these. With the spiritual C, the Zerg almost always knows the truth and is almost always fair. Even if the overlords fight for territory, they don't need the high-sounding reasons of humans. Just challenge directly, everything is so simple and direct. In fact, Zerg below the overlord level rarely have their own private property. Everything is distributed according to needs. It is clear at a glance what you can eat and use. There is no plundering, exploitation and oppression among humans. And the private property owned by the overlords is actually his power, territory, resources he controls, and the army he can mobilize. Zerg do not have so-called currency and money. Treasures, calligraphy and paintings, which cannot be eaten or used, have no value in the eyes of Zerg. There is no relationship between the sexes in Zerg, and there is no concept of handsome men and beautiful women. There are no troubles caused by this, and of course, all kinds of fun are lost. We can imagine. There is probably little art in Zerg. There is a lack of mystery and beauty inside the Zerg. Indirect evidence is that Xiaoming once searched for a long time in the spiritual sea of Zerg, and did not find anything related to art. Humans have 9 arts, 1 painting, 2 sculpture, 3 architecture, 4 music, 5 literature, 6 dance, 7 drama, 8 movie, 9 games. These things basically have nothing to do with the Zerg. The Zerg only pursues practical effects. The Zerg does not care about the unrealistic concept of beauty. At least the low-level Zerg do not care. Some high-level Zerg occasionally pursue sensory stimulation. This will be discovered when Xiaoming returns to the sheltered area. There is no concept of patent rights within the Zerg, because there is no need for it. Any invention of the Zerg belongs to the entire race. The contribution he made can be used by the entire race, and the entire race will collectively decide what kind of treatment the inventor should receive. It is basically impossible to treat him unfairly. Occasionally, there will be things that are said after the fact, but they are rare. In summary, the Zerg, which basically prohibits lies, is a fairly fair race with great development potential. However, from the perspective of humans, the Zerg is also a very boring race. Without sex, art, and entertainment, what's the point of living like this? Even decadent otakus like Xiaoming and Zhongwen have a pursuit of beauty. Otherwise, where would the uniform beasts come from? This is also the reason why Xiaoming's heart is more inclined towards humans. The situation of insect humans is more special. If they use language to communicate, insect humans can lie, cover up, and even cheat. But once they use spiritual communication, the situation is the same as that of the Zerg. Don't even think about lying, especially in front of Xiaoming's powerful spiritual power. The coexistence of the two communication methods allows insect humans to play some artistic things like humans. At the same time, they also have a court that can basically guarantee fairness and truth, or an arbitration agency. Important things are decided through spiritual communication. On the surface, This seems to make insect humans have the advantages of both humans and Zerg. Of course, this may also turn insect humans into a four-legged beast. What will the future of insect humans look like? It's too early to say now, and everything will be determined by time. Green Xiaoming's insect tribe has begun, growing slowly and steadily, and gradually has a little bit of a tribe. In fact, this goes against the biggest feature of the Zerg, the swarm tactics. Unfortunately, this is determined by Xiaoming's personality. Xiaoming himself has always been conservative, so the development he leads is naturally slow. Lazy House just casually said a few words about spiritual communication, which is also the setting in this article. In fact, this problem not only exceeds the scope of Lazy House's research, it has also exceeded the scope of human research. We don't have the corresponding samples to study. Many science fiction writers have mentioned similar concepts before. It is a topic that can be thought about more. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 305. Yin Xiaoming's Lin family castle had a very interesting incident. The reincarnator appeared again. WTF? Isn't the time in the outside world still? Why did the reincarnator appear now? Xiaoming suddenly felt that his brain was not enough, and he was overwhelmed. Did the rules of the reincarnation space change? Did the time in the outside world start to run? Then my sister and the others should find out that they were trapped in the reincarnation world, right? Viet. We can go back. Someone will come to rescue us soon, Xiaoming shouted excitedly. Great. Young Master Xiaohong and Xiaolu were also happy. Only Maomoer was the most sober. Please don't be happy too early. According to my calculations, there is a 61.8% chance that the time on Pangu Star is still. Xiaoming knows Maomoer, and he must have his reasons for saying this. Tell me, Xiaoming's tone was still very calm. After all, he had already thought of a way to go home. And even if the time on Pangu Star has started to run, the chance of being rescued is not very high. Someone will definitely come, at least the military will definitely send someone. The nine-tailed fox will probably come too. The key is that it is too difficult to find a reincarnationist who is powerful enough. This person must be able to deal with the Shushan Sword Master and the Locking Demon Tower to a certain extent. What level of reincarnation is this? S level? Or higher? Can the military invite such a reincarnationist? More importantly, will they invite him for such a small role as himself? Xiaoming doesn't think he is that valuable. The only possibility is that once the news gets out, what if some very powerful guy wants to find something to play with after being quiet for a long time? That's still a possibility. In short, after Xiaoming was briefly excited, he soon thought of these unfavorable conditions, and the excitement was extinguished. Xiaolu and Xiaohong haven't thought it through yet, so they listened to Maomoer's explanation very seriously. Maomoer explained without any hesitation. Based on the fact that the reincarnation space did not close this world after our mission was completed, it can be seen that the reincarnation space does not like to close the mission world casually. Since it is not closed, the space is likely to improve the utilization efficiency of the mission world. That is, another group of reincarnations suitable for the next stage of the mission will be put into the same world. That is, first stop the time of the second wave of reincarnations, wait for the first wave of reincarnations to complete the mission, and then put the second wave of reincarnations in at the appropriate time. The reincarnations will not notice it at all. And the space will continue this operation, and then put in the third wave, the fourth wave, and so on. Until there is no next wave of reincarnations in this round. At that time, when the time comes, the space may end this world, or wait for this world to end completely, or let this world run without interference. It may even be that after several years, it suddenly finds suitable reincarnations and puts them into this world again. According to the reincarnation space's ability to control time, this should be easy to do. After Mao said this, Xiaoming felt that it made sense, but there was also a supplementary question: what about the plot? The previous reincarnation may have changed the plot. Just after he finished speaking, before Mao answered, Xiaoming also reacted: okay, I understand. What do you understand? Sir Xiaolu, who was a beat slower, was still confused. She was a daughter that had become a spirit. Her mind was not particularly flexible. The female ghost Xiaohong figured it out: yes, there is no need for the reincarnation space to pay special attention to the plot. It is better this way, so that the reincarnations cannot know the real plot. Even if you know the original plot, you don't know what kind of plot you will face. If the reincarnations cheat according to the original plot, it may be counterproductive. Hearing this, Xiaolu was stunned. There is such a trick. Too bad. Asterisk 4. After a moment, the four shook their heads and sighed. The reincarnation space is doing this. Even if the traversers who know the plot may be played to death, right? And the reincarnations who don't know the plot may be better. Don't always think about taking shortcuts and super shortcuts, just be yourself. Maybe this is the best way to face the reincarnation world. In this way, what the New Han Kingdom did, using the secret realm of the Magic Planet game to train reincarnation candidates, this approach is likely to be a waste of time. Since the possibility of being rescued is not great, Lu Xiaoming continues to develop the insect-human race with peace of mind. Yin Xiaoming also planned to continue studying source energy and Bright Summit. But suddenly a ghost came to the door. It was Lin Yueru's mother. After such a long time, Lin's mother had discovered that the person who helped her was Yin Xiaoming. At this time, the plot of Fairy Sword had developed to the point where Li Xiaoao defeated Lin Yueru in the arena of the martial arts competition. Lin Tianese wanted to recruit this young man as his son-in-law. Unexpectedly, Zhao Linger showed her half-human and half-snake true form that night, broke through the wall and escaped. Li Xiaoao thought that Zhao Linger was captured by the nearby snake demon. He insisted on saving her. None of this had anything to do with Xiaoming, but Lin Yueru was an outgoing girl and ran away. This made Lin's mother embarrassed. Should she follow her daughter? Or should she follow her husband? If it was her own will, of course she would be willing to follow her daughter. Her husband was the leader of the Southern Martial Arts League, so there was no need to worry. But Lin Yu was in danger if she went like this. If she encountered evil people or monsters, she could not help at all. There are also several people, reincarnations, who are hanging out with Li Xiaoao, and Lin's mother is worried. So she naturally thought of her benefactor, the hermit master Zhang Xiaoming. Lin's mother took the initiative to come to ask for help. What should Xiaoming do? Can he still say no? He has taken advantage of the Lin family a lot. It is right to help. Of course, Xiaoming only followed from a distance in secret. Unless he encounters danger, he will not take action. If you encounter a monster that you can't deal with, but human power is sometimes limited. Xiaoming has no choice. Lin's mother clearly trusted the wrong person. But then again, Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru are both handsome men and beautiful women. They are romantic and handsome, with beautiful faces. That Zhao Linger is even more beautiful. It completely meets Xiaoming's aesthetic taste. When I first saw it, I was shocked by it. What a pity, how could it be a monster? But monsters don't matter. In the Magic Planet game and the reincarnation space, haven't Xiaoming seen enough strange species? Orc girls are also a powerful faction that otakus admire. Perhaps this is the real reason why Xiaoming agreed to Lin's mother. I want to meet Zhao Linger again. And I can also see what a high-level reincarnationist looks like. This opportunity is quite rare. It is estimated that even high-level reincarnationists may not have such an opportunity. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 306. The most important reason is Xiaoming's selfishness. There is probably no chance of him relying on the people on Pangu Star to save him. But if Malmoer is unlucky, then waves of reincarnations will appear in this world. And there is a 90% chance that these reincarnations will become stronger and stronger. In the later stage, reincarnations with strong enough strength may appear. Whether he asks, lures, or pretends to be a plot character to give them tasks. Green Xiaoming's chance of escaping from the demon locking tower will increase greatly. But to do this, Xiaoming must keep up with the protagonist team, and it is best to join in with a suitable identity. But whether to mix in and how to mix in, Xiaoming is still hesitating. However, only by mixing in the protagonist team can you ensure that you will not miss every wave of reincarnations. Maybe you can even trick the protagonist team to help. At this time, Xiaoming does not know that if the plot develops normally, the protagonist team will indeed destroy the demon locking tower in the future, and then the Insect King can naturally take the opportunity to escape. In fact, Xiaoming could do nothing but wait. But Xiaoming didn't know that, so he followed the protagonist with hope to observe the situation. The story of the Snake Demon Cave, also known as the Hidden Dragon Cave, was not too difficult for the protagonist. Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru's strength at this time was already at the advanced level 2. If we only look at the attack power, it should be above level 3. It's just that their health is not as thick as that of level 3. This is very common among ascetics. Lin and Li are still good. They both entered the Tao through martial arts, and their physical training is better than other ascetics. Following them into the Hidden Dragon Cave, there were several reincarnations. 2 level 1 reincarnations were holding guns, and a level 2 reincarnation seemed to be a ninja. It was the kind of ninja that Xiaoming had seen in the secret realm of Naruto. There were obvious traces of chakra in his body. The 3 of them seemed to be in the same team, and they were not very defensive against each other. Then Xiaoming scanned the map and found that there were another 5 reincarnations in the Snake Cave. One of the first level thieves should be in the same group with the 3 reincarnationists. His lurking skills are quite good. He is alone in the periphery, responsible for reconnaissance and vigilance. He appears and disappears in the group of snake monsters as if he is in a place without snakes. The other 4 reincarnationists are obviously in the same group with the snake monsters. They live in harmony with the monsters in the cave. They are ambushed in different dangerous areas, ready to attack. They want to attack, but they are not concentrated together. If it is not for the special arrangement of space, these 4 people are just in harmony. They all want to get the biggest reward for themselves. The strength of these 4 reincarnationists just corresponds to the reincarnationists on Li Xiaoao's side. There is also 1 second level and 3 first levels. Judging from his characteristics, the second level should be a werewolf. Xiaoming has seen and killed too many werewolves, so he recognized it at a glance. The 3 first level ones are all ordinary people, and they seem to have learned fighting skills. But at this time, they are holding guns in their hands. At the low level, it is better to use guns for ambushes and sneak attacks. There are indeed many looted women in the Snake Demon Cave, and Zhao Linger is certainly not among them. Xiaoming watched Zhao Linger transform into a snake demon and escape. If she appeared here, she should be with the snake demon as a monster. Unfortunately, she is not here. Lu Tiangxian's beauty is obvious to all. After the blessing of the descendants of Nuwa by the reincarnation space, it is reasonable that Xiaoming would be fascinated at first sight. Seeing the strongest snake demon man and fox demon woman here, Xiaoming felt that they seemed to be very different from Zhao Linger last night. Could it be the same species? That's right, ordinary snake demons can't have the same appearance as Xiaolinger, they must be very advanced snakes. Maybe it can also be a little dragon. In any case, Xiaoming couldn't guess that Xiaolinger's bloodline might not be inferior to the bloodline of the dragon clan. Since Xiaolinger was not there, Xiaoming didn't feel like a fan meeting a star. Naturally, he wouldn't rush to the front to take the lead. He just followed from a distance. Moreover, he was hiding in Guangmingding in a very wretched manner and following him. 3 uniformed housekeepers were placed outside, one in the inn, one outside the cave, and the last one followed the protagonist inside. Various energy weapons were floating around Xiaoming. The most suitable one for the current scene was the Hacker Energy Sniper Rifle. It has a long range and great power, and it is the best for long-range support. This world is a comprehensive version of the Xianjian game and the TV series. The Snake Demon Cave is also a maze. But it is not complicated. It is far inferior to the Demon Locking Tower where Lu Xiaoming is. Li Xiaoao and Lin Yuuru are very strong in themselves, and with the help of 4 reincarnations, it is really a snake blocking the snake, a snake blocking the snake. There is no way, there are only snakes here, and very few of them have cultivated into partial human form, while most of them still maintain the original form of snakes. The protagonist team killed all the way and did not encounter much danger. However, they left Xiaoming with many snake demon corpses. It's a pity that they can't be sent to the demon locking tower. And insect humans are not rare. The level of these monsters is really far worse than that in the demon locking tower. In line with the principle of not wasting, Xiaoming collected the bodies of the snake demons that had not transformed into human form and prepared to barbecue them in the future. This kind of snake meat is probably much more delicious than ordinary snake meat. Forget about the ones that have transformed into human form, they are really hard to eat. There are also many injured and snake demons that did not participate in the battle, and basically they have not committed any serious crimes. Xiaoming was too lazy to even use the penalty collar on them. Just let them go. Li Xiaoao and Lin Yuuru handled the battle against the snake monsters with ease. It was not Xiaoming's turn to attack the whole time, and he just focused on stealing Li Xiaoao's swordsmanship. The battle between the reincarnationists was quite lively. The thief on Li Xiaoao's side played a major role. He discovered the first 3 ambushes of the reincarnationists in advance. The ambushes discovered in advance were of course not threatening. The 3 first-level reincarnationists on the opposite side were easily killed by their own reincarnationists one after another. But the second-level werewolf discovered the thief in advance. He ambushed and killed the thief. However, the thief was resurrected soon, and when he entered the cave again, he was seen by the housekeeper left outside the hidden dragon cave by Xiaoming. With his tip-off, the second-level werewolf could no longer play a role. He was chopped by Li Xiaoao's sword control technique. The reincarnationist on his side was also smart. He did not deal with the werewolf himself, but borrowed a knife to kill. The reward may be less, but it is safer. Xiaoming agreed deeply. During this period, Xiaoming also discovered some characteristics of the battles between the reincarnationists. Killing the hostile reincarnationists can drop several pieces of loot. But their level is too low now, and there is nothing good to drop. The only one at level 2 was killed by borrowing a knife, and he didn't drop anything good either. They were just some supplies such as food, medicine, ammunition, and not even a gun. The reincarnationists also said with some regret. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 307. Swish, the sword flashed, a snake tail was blocked, blood splattered where the blade passed, the wound was almost exposed to the bone. The snake demon howled, and used his body skills to swim to the side. Just after swimming a few feet away, his body was entangled by Lin Yuuru's long whip again, and he couldn't break free in a hurry. Li Xiaoao's sword was at him again. Seeing that the snake demon man couldn't resist, The fox demon woman jumped over and blocked the sword with her claws. Li Xiaoao's sword was heavy, and the fox demon also staggered. The snake demon man took the opportunity to break free and rushed towards Lin Yuuru with his weapon. Lin Yuuru swung the whip directly to the snake demon's face, and the snake demon was prepared to dodge sideways. The fox demon woman took the opportunity to fill in the position and grabbed Lin Yuuru. Lin Yuuru dodged, and the fox demon woman had not yet retracted her move, and Li Xiaoao's sword had already left her hand and flew over, which was the Shushan sword control technique. The fox demon didn't know that Li Xiaoao had this move, so she couldn't dodge in time, and her left arm was cut. The sword energy entering her body further disrupted her demonic energy. Fortunately, the snake demon's tail came over and wrapped around her body, and then pulled her back. The fox demon pinched the magic formula with her right hand and cast a hypnotic spell on Li Xiaoao. Li Xiaoao's magic resistance seemed to be a little low, and his head was dizzy. He was about to fall to the ground. Lin Yuuru jumped forward and stepped on Li Xiaoao's foot. The young man woke up instantly. This decisive battle between the two bosses has been going on for a while. The snake demon's body was not strong enough, and it was scarred by Li Xiaoao's sword. He couldn't use his body skills, and was always restrained by Lin Yuuru's ever-changing whip skills. If it weren't for the fox demon girl who had been helping him, the snake demon man would have died at this moment. The fox demon girl's physical combat power was still a little weak, and the harassment effect was not great. It was only thanks to the hypnotic technique that was hard to defend that it was able to drag on until now. Li Xiaoao happens to know a kind of Bingxinju, which is specially used to break auxiliary spells such as hypnosis and paralysis. He can always wake up Lin Yuuru in time. It can be said that Li Xiaoao's side has a comprehensive restraint on the snake demon side. The fox demon can only rely on hypnotizing Li Xiaoao to delay time, but he didn't expect to be broken by Lin Yuuru stepping on the foot. The situation is already very unfavorable for the snake demon side. The only hope is the reincarnation. If the werewolf can defeat the ninja and come back 3-2, there may be some chances. Before, the reincarnations on the snake demon side each used a resurrection, and gathered with the two bosses of the snake demon man and the fox demon woman to prepare for a team fight. At the beginning of the team fight, the snake demon unexpectedly rushed into the team of reincarnations on Li Xiaoao's side and directly killed our 3 first-level reincarnations. Only the ninja dodged it. Lin Yuuru was not to be outdone, and swung the long whip to hit the reincarnations on the snake demon side. The 3 first-level ones also had no power to fight back against the spiritual whip method. Also died. This experience tells us that even when starting a group, we must be timid, and the boss's side may not be a safe place. So the werewolf and the ninja looked at each other. The main characters of the two sides were too strong. They dared not confront each other. Let's fight the 2 reincarnations, at least stay on the stage for a while longer. At this moment, the two of them had a tacit understanding, so the werewolf and the ninja fought together. The enemy werewolf's physical fitness and recovery ability are very good. Our ninjas do not have enough offensive ability, and finally they were worn down by the thick-skinned werewolves bit by bit. The second-level ninja is still a ninja, with insufficient chakra and no powerful ninjutsu. It is indeed a disadvantage to fight against the bloodline of the werewolf that was so glorious in the early stage. Just when the snake demon and the fox demon were ecstatic, Li Xiaoao and Lin Yuuru frowned secretly. Yin Xiaoming finally appeared. "Hey, how dare you, evil creature!" A silver light flashed, and the werewolf was shot in the head by Xiaoming from a distance. That silver light was the light when Xiaoming's energy bullet exploded. The light and shadow effect was not much different from magic. The 4 people from both sides looked in the direction of the sound. In the distance, Zhang Xiaoming was wearing a scholar's robe and walking gracefully. In a trance, Lin Yuuru thought she had seen her cousin, the nerd. Xiaoming could only give himself 60 points for pretending to be cool this time. It doesn't matter, there is still a chance. The snake demon man and the fox demon woman felt that something was wrong. They were no match for the couple in front of them. Here came another scholar who seemed to be more powerful. When Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru turned around, the two demons immediately turned around and fled in two directions. Lin and Li hurriedly chased separately. It's just that the other party started earlier, and with their speed, they might not be able to catch up. And don't chase the desperate enemy, how can you know if there are other traps in the cave? But Li Xiaoao thought they had captured Zhao Linger, and he was eager to save her, so he didn't care so much. If the two monsters escape, Xiao Ming will probably lose favorability with the two protagonists. That's unacceptable. I still need them to rescue me. Xiao Ming clasped his hands together, knelt on one knee, and pressed his hands on the ground. He activated alchemy. Alchemy, a skill that only depends on the strength of mental power and has no level difference, is the most suitable skill for Xiao Ming to exert his strength. A 3*2 stone wall suddenly rose on the flat ground, blocking the escape route of the two monsters. In the past few days, Green Xiao Ming has built up to several hundred meters of walls, and he has become quite skilled. The fox demon girl was weak and hit the first wall unexpectedly, spitting blood from her mouth and collapsed on the ground. Li Xiaoao happened to stab her with his sword, and the fox demon died immediately. Logically, Xiao Ming should be lenient with the beastman girl. However, this time the situation was special, and Xiao Ming did not dare to let her go. But he did not expect Li Xiaoao to kill her. Li Xiaoao actually had no choice. The hypnosis of this fox demon was too powerful. If they get into trouble, both he and Lin Yueru will die, and Ling might also die. How could he dare to hold back? The snake demon man was stronger than his wife. After knocking down the first stone wall, he was stopped by the second stone wall. He also suffered serious internal injuries. Many bones were broken. He wanted to fight back and fight hard to take down Lin Yueru, maybe he could give his wife a chance to live. But seeing that the fox demon woman was dead, the snake demon instantly lost all hope. Although theoretically, he could still kill Lin Yueru for revenge. But it was not easy to kill Lin Yueru. Among the two Lin and Li, Lin Yueru's martial arts were actually better, and she became more powerful after thousands of tempers. Li Xiaoao was just stronger in strength and sword control. In terms of countering moves, he was far inferior to Lin Yueru. After all, Lin Yueru had practiced martial arts since she was a child, and her family had a long history of learning. Li Xiaoao had just learned sword control not long ago. If he could muster up the last courage and strength to fight once to save his wife, but now that his wife was dead, it would be useless even if he killed Lin Yueru for revenge. Besides, is Lin Yueru so easy to kill? Not to mention that she can't be taken down in a hurry. Even the scholar who has been watching the show from behind, he can dispel all his efforts by just putting up a stone wall. The snake demon was sad and angry, and didn't want to see the face of humans after the victory, so he screamed and exploded. Snake demons and fox demons are actually very difficult to fight in the game, because the protagonists are still at a low level when they get here, and they often can't hold on. Of course, the plot world is different from the game. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 308. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Zhang Xiaoming, Lin Yueru and Li Xiaoao hurriedly searched for Zhao Linger in the hidden dragon cave. Xiaoming knew that Zhao Linger was not here, but there were indeed many women abducted by snake demons, so he left them to these two kind-hearted people. The bodies of the snake demon and the fox demon were still valuable, so he picked them up. There were also the drops of two reincarnations, the werewolf and the ninja. The werewolf dropped only a military dagger after his death. Because his health had been worn away by the ninja, Xiaoming only made up for it with a knife. The bulk of the reward went to the ninja. However, the ninja was dead, so he burned paper for something. His share of the reward was swallowed up by the space. The reward for making up for the knife was limited. The item dropped by the ninja after his death was a D-level ninjutsu scroll, mist hidden technique. The ninja might not be qualified to learn it yet. This was the spoils of war that the werewolf got, but unfortunately he had no chance to pick it up. In this case, the space could not take back the reward, so this kind of bargain could be picked up. I checked the description of the mist hidden technique. It uses chakra to create a large amount of fog to cover the battlefield and hide oneself. It is a good ninjutsu. Its effect varies from person to person. The results will definitely be very different if a cage-level ninja uses it or a Chunin uses it. The so-called D-level evaluation is just a sign. Just when Xiaoming wanted to use it directly, the housekeeper guarding outside the cave saw the ninja again. It turned out that he chose to revive. He really has confidence in Li Xiaoao. 2 against 3, he still thinks that Li Xiaoao and his team will win. Xiaoming's heart moved, and he carefully browsed the contents of the scroll, and put the scroll back to its original place. Leave it to its original owner. Only VIPs with superior status can do this kind of operation of picking up items from other reincarnations and putting them back. Ordinary reincarnations cannot do it. Picking up this item belongs to the reincarnation, and putting it down is equivalent to discarding it. After discarding, the item disappears. It will not wait there for others to pick it up. The reincarnation space, where everything is charged, will not allow reincarnations to transfer items to each other in this way. Only VIPs like Xiaoming can be so free. Xiaoming gave up the purpose of the scroll not because of some noble moral sentiment, but because he wanted to disguise himself as a native of this world. Although it makes sense not to leave this item, it is not surprising that the werewolf picked it up. But leaving this item can almost confirm his identity as a native. Xiaoming understands the mentality of people who have just lost important things. Everyone looks like a thief. Even if it is his own fault, he will treat others as thieves. This is human nature. Xiaoming does not want to be stared at by this ninja like a thief. It is difficult for him to do anything, so he decided to return the item to its original owner. Besides, this is really not a great thing. If it is a B-level or above thing, Xiaoming will definitely keep it. Forget about the fog hiding technique. If Xiaoming wants to create a thick fog, it is not difficult to do it using alchemy. Why didn't I think of alchemy being used like this before? Before dark, Li Xiaoao, Lin Yuuru, Zhang Xiaoming and the ninja Hattori Zhang sent all the women back to Beihe village at the foot of the mountain. Not far from the village, Xiaoming noticed that Zhao Linger was in the village, and the feeling of fans meeting their idols came up again. While dealing with the villagers' thanks, chatting with people from all sides, and spending most of his energy on appreciating Zhao Linger, who was like a fairy. This dull state lasted for a long time. Until Li Xiaoao and Lin Yuuru went to the home of the village chief Han Yuxian as guests, they also saw Zhao Linger. Li Xiaoao and Zhao Linger, in front of everyone, staged a dog abuse drama of reuniting after a short separation and hugging tightly. Xiaoming realized that he didn't even have a little jealousy in his heart. Even Lin Yuuru felt a little sad. But he didn't have any at all. Why? Before, Xiaoming thought that he had developed a desire for Zhao Linger. Now it seems that it is not the case. This is even more strange. With Zhao Linger's beauty, it is normal for him to have a crush on her. But if he doesn't like her, why is she so attractive to him? While he was thinking, someone patted his shoulder twice. Sixth brother, hey, wake up, sixth brother. Looking up, it was Hattori Zhang. It turned out to be brother Hattori, I don't know why you call me sixth brother. Hatsub was very upset. This Mr. Zhang is quite capable, but his brain doesn't seem to be very good. He speaks awkwardly, not as straightforward as Li Xiaoao. This nickname was given to you by brother Xiaoao. Because you are often distracted, You always have to call it for the 6th time before you can react, so you call Mr. Zhang's 6th brother. I didn't expect you to be such a person. Xiaoming really didn't realize that Li Xiaoao also has this hobby of giving people nicknames. But the name of 6th brother is quite pleasant to hear. What is Hattori Zhang doing here? It's normal. He is here to improve the NPC's favorability. Or to learn more about the future plot. The other reincarnations have not appeared. His mission in this wave is likely to have been completed. The battle in the Snake Cave should be his main mission 3. He is still here now, which is naturally the result of using the mission card. Seeing Zhang Xiaoming, a new plot character, he is probably still feeling lucky. This is also thanks to the setting of the space. The reincarnation space is different from the game. The favorability of the plot characters will not be told to the reincarnation. In this way, Xiaoming can continue to disguise. From the observation of these reincarnations, Xiaoming has not been able to obtain definite evidence, and cannot judge whether the time in the Pangustar world is still in a state of stillness. Quietly, Xiaoming got a little blood of Zhaolinger and kept it. He had a hunch that this blood would bring a great improvement to the Insect King. But Silver Xiaoming would not absorb it, and Green Xiaoming, who would absorb it, was trapped in the locking demon tower. So for the time being, Xiaoming can only watch with envy. The next plot is to treat Zhaolinger, which requires various precious medicinal materials. Han Yuxian does not have them on hand. Li Xiaoao and Lin Yuuru naturally have to help find them. Hattori Zhang is of course involved, and this is the task he got with the task card. Xiaoming is not very interested in this matter, but he pretends to be willing to help and leaves Beihe village. But he did not go to find medicine, but ran towards the mass grave of Hai Shui village. It was not surprising that there was some death smell in the mass grave, but Xiaoming felt that the death smell there was too strong. It was dozens of times stronger than normal. This attracted Xiaoming's attention and greed. Speaking of which, the necromancer was also one of Xiaoming's specialties. Xiaoming almost didn't need to deliberately sense the death smell, he could sense its existence. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 309. The mass grave outside Hai Shui village is usually very quiet. Even in broad daylight, few people come here. There are gusts of cold wind and chilly air all year round. There are rumors of ghosts and zombies from time to time. Few people have come here for more than 10 years. The chaotic graves, high and low, spread over a mile or two. Because no one has taken care of them for many years, many of them have been dug up by wild animals or monsters. Broken limbs, broken arms, broken bones, and tattered clothes can be seen everywhere. There are also some soul-calling banners, paper money, white cloth strips, porcelain plates, earthenware jars, etc. used in sacrifices, which are also scattered in tatters in the mass grave. Although it is still broad daylight, the sky above the mass grave is still covered by dark clouds, and the sun cannot be seen. There is also fog covering it, and the vision is very poor. In the eyes of ordinary people, this place is already scary enough. In Xiaoming's eyes, the truth is even more apparent. There must be a powerful monster here. This place is very similar to the Lanruo temple that Xiaoming visited. The large forest controlled by the tree demon grandma feels very similar to this mass grave. Xiaoming used mental power to scan and found it immediately. There are hundreds of level 1 zombies wandering on the ground, but it's a piece of cake. Underground is a huge tomb filled with ghosts and ghosts, mostly level 2 zombies, many of them wearing armor and holding weapons. They can be dealt with. The deepest part of the tomb maze is a tomb. There is a ghost general sleeping in a coffin, a level 3 advanced zombie. This guy is quite scary. Zhao Linger, Li Xiaoao, and Lin Yueru may not be easy to deal with together. The ghost general's life value is too thick. The ghost's life value, what a strange saying. However, Li Xiaoao and others are the protagonists, and the protagonist's upgrade is always unreasonable. If there is a conflict in the future, Xiaoming is still more optimistic about the protagonists. However, there is no most terrible, only more terrible. There is also a huge pool of blood under the general's tomb, and there is a half-asleep guy in it that is even more terrifying. That kind of pressure, that kind of majestic energy, is really too scary. What level of monster is this? There is no chance to beat him. Now such a powerful monster appears, could it be that the protagonists will not come here at all? Or will the plot have other arrangements? For this reason, Xiaoming frowned and thought for a while. Suddenly, he found that the evaluation of this monster in the scan map was not particularly high. It was just that the yellow was slightly red. Scanning the map is the mental skill of the Zerg. It does not divide creatures into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 levels like magic planets. It is also not divided into E, D, C, B, A and other levels like the reincarnation space. The Zerg scanning map uses color to distinguish. The so-called color is not a very rigorous statement. The results of the mental scan are directly presented in Xiaoming's mind. Color is just a feeling. Those that can be easily dealt with will appear blue and green, those that are tied are orange and yellow, those that cannot be defeated will appear red and black. But the scan is also unreliable, it evaluates the combined strength of green Xiaoming and silver Xiaoming. Now silver Xiaoming is alone, and he is the weaker of the two. So the result will be very biased. However, it can also explain the problem. Obviously, the Zerg's spiritual C believes that Xiaoming should only be slightly at a disadvantage against this monster. Judging from the energy just felt, things are very unreasonable. Such a vast energy, any little bit can destroy oneself. Oh, I see, that energy does not belong to the monster itself. This monster is likely to absorb this energy. In this case, the threat is not so great. However, Xiaoming himself does not lack energy. It is not worth risking his life for this, to fight this big monster. We can just harvest some scraps. Xiaoming once again used one of his tricks, magic, death harvest. To this day, the energy network in Xiaoming's body has gradually integrated well, and can be superimposed on each other. It can also borrow part of the energy of another network. The effect is that when Xiaoming uses any skill related to supernatural energy, the effect of this skill will be increased by about 50%. And the energy in Xiaoming's silver network is quite sufficient. Finally, this time, Xiaoming harvested the entire mass grave without exhausting all his energy. Of course, there is not much left, and it is necessary to use source energy to replenish it quickly. Then Yin Xiaoming's mental power close to level 6 also covered the entire mass grave, including the general's tomb and the blood pool underground. In an instant, tens of thousands of skeleton soldiers, zombies, and ghosts were harvested, all over the mass grave and the general's tomb. They are all level 1-3 undead soldiers. This number basically has no problem with the dead ghost general. If the guy in the blood pool has no tricks, it is not difficult to pile him to death. And this time, Xiaoming harvested far more than those common undead soldiers. There are also a large number of black warriors and death knights in helmets and armor in the general's tomb. Most of these powerful soldiers are level 3. Hundreds of vampires were also harvested in the blood pool. They are not the vampires in the underworld, but the undead creatures in the magic planet. They are all of level 2-3 strength. Xiaoming regretted it a little. If he used the source energy to launch the death harvest, he might get more powerful undead troops. This place is clearly a treasure land specially created for the ghosts. It is very likely that it was created by the ghost general and the big boss. In order to cultivate to a higher level here, they didn't know how many people they killed and how long they spent collecting resources. Just looking at the blood pool was shocking. I didn't expect that Xiaoming would get all the benefits today. Xiaoming definitely couldn't take away so many undead soldiers. But it happened that Xiaoming was trapped in this world and couldn't leave in the short term. It's not bad to have a force of your own. This undead army can become a lord even if it is pulled into the demon locking tower. Both the Ghost General and the Red Ghost King were awakened, but looking at the countless obviously hostile monsters surrounding them, neither of them dared to move. A good man doesn't suffer a loss in front of him. Now he is obviously at a disadvantage. It is unwise to act rashly. Besides, judging from this trend, the other party should be a ghost cultivator like him. Maybe there is room for negotiation. The two ghosts waited for the other party's next move. Sure enough, the powerful mental pressure enveloped him. The Ghost General had never felt such a vast mental power, and there was a strong killing intention in it. The scale was far beyond the Ghost General's understanding, and it felt like a battle between heaven and earth. The Ghost General defected on the spot and surrendered to Xiaoming's spiritual power. The Red Ghost King had no intention of surrendering. Although Xiaoming's spiritual power was strong, the Red Ghost King had a treasure. How could he surrender easily? Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 310. Regarding the strong mental power of Yin Xiaoming that Ghost General and Red Ghost King felt, there are actually some misunderstandings. Even among humans, even cultivators have limited growth in mental power in the initial stage of laying the foundation. In this respect, they cannot be compared with the Zerg. The Zerg's mental power ocean is a racial advantage. The Zerg is born with strong mental power. Even the mental power of low-level Zerg is stronger than that of human Qi cultivators. This gap will gradually narrow after reaching a very high level. There is not much difference between the mental power of the Sword Saint and the Zerg King. This is also related to the fact that the Zerg King did not use mental pressure. He was hit by the Sword Saint first. However, with the strength of Shushan Dugu Sword Saint, mental pressure could not deceive him. Only those with lower cultivation would be affected. Saying this may be criticized by many people. A cultivator who has reached the nascent soul and God transforming stage, his mental power is still not as good as that of a high-level Zerg? What an international joke. To put it simply, Zerg with strong mental power are similar to cultivators who have obtained high-level magic weapons. Just like the Red Ghost King who got the Earth Spirit Pearl. At the beginning, even Xiaoming was frightened by him. It was a bit like a fox pretending to be powerful. But in fact, there was no corresponding strength. The magic weapon of the Zerg is the spiritual power of the Zerg. It comes from the spiritual power ocean established by the sages of the Zerg, which is equivalent to a super magic weapon open to all races. Because the spiritual power of the Zerg is innate, the compatibility between the Zerg and its own spiritual power is better than that of most cultivators with magic weapons. It is more deceptive. However, from the individual aspect, the soul strength of the Zerg is relatively poor. Confucius said that virtue does not match the position. As the saying goes, it is IQ is underpaid. Therefore, the use of spiritual power by Zerg individuals is very rough. Most of them only have a few skills obtained from the spiritual sea. In this regard, cultivators can be said to be completely suppressed by Zerg. From the initial basic stage, cultivators have been gradually cultivating their souls, or Yuan Shen. So if the same level Zerg and the monks fight one-on-one, the monks can usually escape even if they are defeated. Those with good skills can even kill them. Of course, the Zerg leaders also know their shortcomings, so the Zerg have always fought in large groups. They will not play one-on-one with others. Other cosmic civilizations that have been fighting with the Zerg for many years are of course aware of the characteristics of the Zerg. Therefore, many corresponding strategies and tactics have been developed. However, in the world of Xianjian 1, this is the first time that the Zerg's mental power has appeared. It is indeed not the fault of the natives of this world for being ignorant. On the one hand, the Ghost General was shocked by Yin Xiaoming's powerful mental power, and on the other hand, he also felt the killing intent in the Zerg's mental power. This feeling had a huge impact on war fanatics like the Ghost General. He was just a human general in his lifetime, and the battles he participated in were also at the ancient level. In terms of scale, it is naturally incomparable to the cosmic war. Especially the Zerg's style of winning by numbers. This is unparalleled for the attraction of the Ghost General. So he took the initiative to join Yin Xiaoming's army and expressed his submission. As for the understanding of the Zerg spirit, the Ghost General is even better than Xiaoming himself. Unfortunately, the Zerg rarely accepts the surrender of other races. Basically, they eat them all to enrich their gene pool. However, the undead wizard can accept the surrender of an undead army, which is a professional talent. So Yin Xiaoming also successfully accepted the surrender of the Ghost General. Of course, the Ghost General could not have thought that he wanted to follow the Zerg, but the undead wizard accepted him. Well, let's make the best of it, anyway, he can't feel it. The vast majority of zombies and other undead army surrendered with the Ghost General. The entire general's tomb basically surrendered half. The other half was free, but they would not take the initiative to conflict with the undead army under Xiaoming. Because this place produces a lot of death breath, it is very suitable for them to grow. So although the other zombies are not Xiaoming's subordinates, they can still be regarded as residents of Xiaoming's territory. Only the situation of the Red Ghost King is different. He does not resonate with the Zerg's killing intentions, and he himself has a treasure like the Earth Spirit Pearl. Unlimited development potential. He would never have any idea of submitting to others. What he wants now is not even to negotiate with Xiaoming. The Red Ghost King knows what the evil people are like. He knows that the blood pool will definitely not be saved, and he can't stay in this cultivation treasure land. The only hope is to get out of it. But Xiaoming is not such a good person. Xiaoming was timid before because he knew he was not an opponent. After the death harvest, Xiaoming found that the previous estimate was wrong. The harvested undead army was enough to compete with the combination of Ghost General and Red Ghost King. At this time, Xiaoming's inclination was to negotiate with these two bosses. How to scrape some resources from them. I didn't want to fight at that time. After the resources were consumed and my strength was stronger, I would settle accounts with them. Xiaoming would never let them go. Just look at this blood pool and you will know that they have killed at least millions of humans. But because there is a lack of masters on his side. Even if he can beat them, he can't keep them. If we start a war now, they will be forced to leave and cause trouble elsewhere. So Xiaoming wants to use negotiation to temporarily stabilize them. Then the Ghost General and a large number of undead soldiers surrendered, which completely changed the balance of power. With such strength, if Xiaoming still lets go of the vicious monster Red Ghost King, then he is out of his mind. With the Ghost General leading the team to fight monsters, the Red Ghost King will have no chance of escaping this time. The Red Ghost King's wishful thinking is that if the Ghost General wants to go down to the blood pool, he must first break through the floor, which will take at least an incense stick of time. As long as he moves quickly and quickly gets rid of the entanglement of these strange monsters, vampires, there is still hope of escaping. But Xiaoming also knows the importance of time, and directly uses alchemy to collapse the rock layer between the general's tomb and the blood pool. Not only did the Ghost General fall straight down with thousands of his subordinates, and immediately join the battle against the Red Ghost King. Moreover, the falling rocks and soil also covered most of the blood pool, blocking the source of the Red Ghost King's power. Checkmate. Checkmate, dead chess. With this move, the Red Ghost King has no chance of winning. This guy is also single, and he immediately bowed his head to show his submission. But Xiaoming dared to accept the Ghost General, but he didn't dare to accept the Red Ghost King. This guy was cunning and treacherous, and staying here would definitely be a disaster. Not only Xiao Ming thought so, but the Ghost General also thought so, and he didn't like the existence of the Red Ghost King. The Red Ghost King was stronger than him, and it was very likely that he would be suppressed by the new master. Seeing that Xiao Ming didn't show any agreement, the Ghost General immediately understood and led his subordinates to attack, slashing with knives, stabbing with spears, and shooting with bows and arrows.